message? Well, their message is that you've never been to a gathering like this before. In fact, leave your egos at the door. Now, this organisation has a charter. It has a huge agenda. I mean, so many agendas I can't begin to start, but let's look at one in particular. And you might recognise this phrase, the future of Britain. Does that sound familiar? Sound like Tony Blair's narrative? So this is where senior leaders are coming together to discuss a national vision. So let's look at some of the voices of Anthropy, because the voices are very interesting. So if you slip to the next slide, you can see that they're saying that these are inspiring speakers, dynamic and diverse lineup of visionary leaders embodying the spirit of Anthropy. So let's see a few of the names. You might see a few familiar. I've put sponsors. Oh, yes, the sponsors. They're very interesting. Check out the sponsors. I think you'll see some familiar names. If you just slip to the next slide, there should be some. That's it. So there you go. There's all the big names, including Coots, including Severn Trent Water. I'll just leave you to freeze the frame on that. But who's doing the speaking at these conferences, I wonder? Well, there's a host of familiar names. So here's a few. The CEO of Channel 4, Alex Mahon, Dame Darcy Bussell, Mariella Frostrup, a broadcaster, Terry Juniper. He's the head of Natural England, who, of course, are assets or getting land back from farmers to rewild. Emma Bridgewater, the founder, Lord Hastings, Kamal Ahmed, journalist, Alan Lovell, chair of the Environment Agency. And it goes on. So if you go to the next slide, you can see Lord Debden is involved, climate change, Imogen Heap, who's a singer and songwriter, Sir Tim Schmidt, the co-founder of the Eden Project. Some of you may recognise Jay Blades, famous for the Repair Shop on television, and Bina Matra, the chair of the KPMG UK. And it goes on again. So we've got another slide with a few more familiar names. Dr. Jeremy Silver, CEO of Digital Catapult. I'm sure Headley Rees will be very interested in that. Christine Hodgson, CEO of Severn Trent Water. Jonathan Parrott, author. So I thought to myself, well, how do you go about attending this conference? I'm only down the road, so I haven't got to pay accommodation. So I thought I'd decide to register. So let's have a look at the registration process. Well, you can see there that it will cost you £1,000 plus VAT to register. Then you've got to fill in this profile information. So you can see there you've got to give a bio as well. And if you flip to the next slide, it goes on, it gets into quite a grilling. You can see you've got to fill in all of those boxes. Fill in, and of course you've got to give your bank details because you've got to pay for the ticket. So you've got to submit bios, your interests, everything else. But where does your data go? Who does this organisation Anthropy share your data with? Well, they share it with TRO Group and Swapcard. And then you have to go into more links to find out their terms and conditions. And then you have to read and consent to all of their terms and conditions. So what do you think, gentlemen? Do you think they'll let me in? Or do you think there needs to be somebody a little bit more discreet that can go and see what they're talking about?
I think they would have a good look at you before they let you in. But what do I see happening? I think this is the elite. This is the global corporations coming together to further an agenda which is never discussed with the public.
The word anthropy makes no sense in Greek or English, but of course misanthropy does. And the hatred of people.
Yes, I was going to say another clue to this organisation is the strange name. Whenever we're looking at the trail of globalist organisations and think tanks, invariably there's some form of strange name or corruption in the name. It may just be corruption in the letters. But any other comments on that one, Debbie? You've got a little video clip, I think.
Well, I have got a little video, but maybe we could play that in extra as well if you don't think we've got enough time in the news. It's very interesting. It's very short, but it just gives people an overview.
Okay, that's excellent.